Well, hi, amazing busy women. I'd like to introduce you to my friend, Kerrie Wearing. She is the spiritual leader and mentor of the divine feminine, which is how, and she will explain her superpower to you. But I think Kerrie's superpower is her empathy, that she is well aware of what is going on and what we're feeling and how to support you with that empathy. So that is the superpower that she gives me every day. Kerrie, welcome. Would you like to explain to everybody what you think your superpower is?
Oh, thanks for having me, Nicole. I'm super excited to be here and sharing with you and celebrating International Women's Day. So, my superpower basically is I want everyone to know that what exists within us is there is the soul essence of the divine feminine. And when we embrace that consciously in our life, it naturally has us show up as a sensual, creative, intuitive and confident being that it organically aligns to our purpose and our destiny. It speaks of intuition. And when we really combine that with the essence of mediumship, magic just starts to happen in our lives. Now, these are all things that are naturally there within the soul. They're an inherent aspect of the soul. And our life really shifts and changes as we start to embrace that thread of energy and that aspect of our soul in our lives.
So, like many words, it is open to interpretation and our own reality. What is the divine feminine to you? What is a woman who has fully embraced divine feminine? What is that to you?
A woman that's fully embraced the divine feminine, like myself, we're our own unique individual characters still, but we're in a space of self-love. We're in a space of the fact that we embody the true essence of who we are meant to be. And, we're authentic, we're confident, we're aligning with our purpose. We're sensual beings now, and we're connected to our spirituality our sexuality, if we are fully honest and fully in our divine feminine. We are connected to that. You're not complete and we're not whole if that's not part of who we are. And we're also naturally connected to our creativity, because when you think about it, we are creative beings. The epitome of our divine feminine is you and I were created from that. It's part of creation. Yeah. So there's a real power in that thread of energy within our humanness and within our spirituality and our soul. So when we can tap into that, it becomes simple. It doesn't become hard, because sometimes the topic of spirituality and tapping into our true selves and our authenticity and our divine feminine, it sounds complicated.
Do you think that women find it difficult to tap into their divine feminine?
Oh, I think, I wouldn't say difficult to tap into it, but perhaps confronting.
What's confronting about it? Why would someone be confronted about it?
Because sometimes it means we need to learn to apply boundaries, and self-love is, as much as sometimes that can be difficult for people to implement. So it's not difficult to tap into, but it can be difficult to implement those kind of changes in your life, so to speak. Because say, for example, you've been a natural people pleaser for your whole life. People are used to you being a certain way. And then when you actually step into self-love, and that's a change you've got to make, sometimes it's a little confronting. It might be a little confronting for you to go, hey, I've actually discovered that I love being me, or that I am more sensual and sexual than what I thought I was, and I need to bring that out in the world. That's where it can be a little confronting, but also on the side of that, it's also really, really exciting,
With with what you've shared, it is confronting for women to be in their power and be in their strength, because we have been taught for so long, and I think it is changing with each generation, to be proud of ourselves and to accept who we are. What is one way that we can enjoy the sensual part of ourselves, or the creative part of ourselves, or the self-love part of ourselves? What is something we can do to slowly embrace the power of the divine feminine?
I just relate it, I guess, to in my world, and because I have, like a lot of people, gone through a lot of change and a lot of difficult circumstances, and I have felt the aspects of where committing to the divine feminine and your spirituality and being your authentic self can be hard and confronting. But one of the things that's always sort of worked for me is my intuition, and really connecting to that space within me, and even taking it a step further. And the fact that, 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, I developed the ability to connect with the spirit world and communicate as a medium. And one of the things that has always done for me has been a tool to connect with that deeper wisdom that is within me, and to rely on that for guidance. And so that's probably the thing that, for me, when it gets tough, I come closer to that. I come closer to my connection to what I call spirit, or my feminine spirit. I rely more on my intuition, and I rely more on the guidance I receive from the guidance source that I work with in the spirit world. So that certainly, when those two are combined, it certainly does. One, you have the wisdom and the knowledge coming through. You have the support and the faith to support you when it does get confronting. And also, to who doesn't want to live in a little bit of a Harry Potter world?
Yeah. True. You know how much I love Harry Potter and Disneyland. They're my two favorite alternate universes. Kerrie, what is spirituality to you? Because it is so different to each of us. So what is spirituality to you? And if somebody is looking for, I guess, altered spirituality, what's the difference between spirituality and faith? And is there a difference?
Look, I think faith is part of spirituality, because I think spirituality for me is ultimately the relationship that I have with that part of myself that expresses what I call God or the divine. So it is a belief in the fact that there is a higher consciousness, a great spirit, whatever you want to call it, God. But for me, spirituality usually is the fact that it's my relationship with that. It's not a relationship where other people are telling me how to be within that. It's my interpretation of it. But it's also so much more than just the fact that we do yoga, or just the fact that we burn incense, or use oracle cards, or go to church, or be a medium. It's so much more than that, because it is an everyday, it's a lifestyle. It's a everyday fact that I'm connected to source and the universe, and my life is an expression of that.
So, considering spirituality and the divine feminine and your mediumship, what is it with all of those skills that people who don't consider themselves in the divine feminine, they're not spiritual, and they don't consider themselves a medium, but they're in touch with those feelings, but they don't consider themselves that? What is something that they can do to kind of connect into this realm?
Okay, well, the first thing I'd want everyone to know is that was me. Like in before I was 26, I had no knowledge. I can remember after my brother passed away, my son was about 1, and I went for, I was in the shopping centre here local, and they had a couple of card readers outside Target, you know, and I sat down and paid for a reading, and the guy, he did a tarot reading at the time, and the cards were like this, you know, and all I was interested in at the time was I going to have another baby? And he answered that and said yes within 2 years, which he was correct. The other thing that he said to me was that in 6 months' time, I would become spiritual, really spiritual. Now, at that point, I had no concept of what the word meant.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could speak to me about religion. I grew up Catholic, but what did spiritual mean? All my frame of reference was at that time was, a psychic reading, or, you know, or reading those kind of things in the Women's Day or whatever. You know, that was it. That was the extent of it. And then what happened was I read a book called The Celestine Prophecy in March of 1996. Mm-hmm. And that really gave me the understanding of the fact that everything was energy, and about your intuition, and little things about how when you come together with people or you meet people, or the coincidences are not really coincidences. Mm-hmm. So what people can do is, first of all, have the awareness that you are greater than your body, that you are greater than what you just see, that your connection to this universe and yourself is greater than just looking at your hand, so to speak. You know, a divine feminine woman, she sees and understands that her emotions are a power source. And when we connect with those, and we understand that that's the soul talking to us, we work with those, and then when it comes to embodying the life that you seek and embodying your destiny, it's about embodiment. It's not just about mindset. It's not just about, you know, the positiveness and gratitude. It's more than that. It's about the word is embodiment, to embody the energy, to embody your destiny. And to do that, one of the things that I always do, I sort of wake up every morning and have a little daily soul conversation and just go, what would love have me do today? And then I just accept the first thought, feeling, and impression that comes through with that. So perhaps I'll just leave it there for people to really just take that with them.
I have a few questions with what you've said, sure. Because you've said, is the divine feminine, or the spirituality, and that habit you said about the feelings, is it always good, or is it bad, or is there judgment put on this, or is it a non-judgment space?
Look, if we're honest with ourselves, we're going to come from the biggest place of judgment on ourselves more than anyone else. Yeah. And I honestly feel like the divine feminine woman, because she comes from a place of love and she comes from a place of self-love, it's okay. We accept that who we are, good, bad, ugly. I know for me, if I'm having a shitty day, I will turn around and go, okay, this is how I feel today. And I look for the gift in that, because those emotions are not always happy, you know, sensual emotions. You know, sometimes it is the shitty bitty committee, you know. Yeah. But there is that, I still always look for, what is it I'm understanding about myself? And if I'm in a space of grief, or if I'm in a space of pain in some way, I honor that. So what I would say, authenticity is not just about honoring, hey, you know, I'm this woman that's going to go and change the world, and I'm positive, and I'm, you know, being the boss lady. Authenticity is not just about that. Authenticity is truly about honoring who you are, and we are so much more than just, you know, I need to be this great loving person.
So it's more about acceptance than judgment, really, in your eyes. It's about, okay, this is who I am, and
Yes.
being grateful for the good and bad opportunities that we can grow from.
Yes, and it's about looking at ourselves and saying, hey, I don't need to fix this. You know, I just need to love it.
So would that be one of the superpowers you would gift our women today, that for them to accept who they are and to love it?
Yes, and the whole thing is, I think we are the divine feminine. When you connect with that, you're naturally a loving person. I know, I don't think in my work as, you know, a mentor, there's not one person I haven't met that doesn't come from a loving space, yet we often discredit that or don't think we come from that space. But I can guarantee you that each and every day, women are out there doing loving acts. And if we can honor that more and see that side of ourselves more, then yes, we can relax more and just be naturally who we need to be and who we are.
So from what you're saying is there's a whole level of trust within the divine feminine, that we need to really trust ourselves and stop looking outside ourselves for that power.
Absolutely. Like there's a level of, it helps you build your self-belief. It helps you build confidence in who you are. It helps you see all of that. And the beauty of it is when you tap into it, that's not hard work to do. You know, you haven't got to be working through this block and that block and trying to get your mindset right and all the hard work. Like when you work with the divine feminine energy and that aspect of your soul, it just becomes a loving acceptance of who you are, and then it just is so much more natural.
So are you saying, so I believe that we also have masculine energies within ourselves and feminine energies. Are you saying that we don't use that masculine part of ourselves, or is that a part of that we accept of who we are, and you know that we embrace that also?
Look, it's absolutely all about balance. We do honor the divine masculine, and there are times when the aspects of our divine masculine absolutely need to be called for, especially for women in business.
Mm-hmm.
However, right now and where we come from, traditionally, we've honored more of the masculine in this world and in business and in who we are. But that won't, certainly for some of us, certainly for those of us that are more soul orientated, that kind of energy won't lead us to success. So what we need to do is find that balance and bring more of honoring the divine feminine, so we create the balance. And that's why I'm sort of like going, hey, you know, like let's embrace the divine feminine, because it's been so overlooked and it hasn't been tapped into in regards to our ability to co-create with the universe.
You and I have had many conversations about the divine feminine, and also the overwhelm in business for women. How can accepting your divine feminine help you in business?
I think it will allow you to be more of who you need to be in things like your marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It'll speak to you about where, when it comes to business, what works for you and what doesn't, even though everyone else might be saying, hey, this is what you need to do. It will allow you to stand in, okay, I need to be me. I need to find a way that works for me, and it'll help you focus and keep the focus on what you enjoy, so that you don't head into that overwhelm. It will do things, the energy of the divine feminine, it'll allow you to let go of the hustle for a start. Very early on, it'll help you apply boundaries. It will help you let go of that striving of, I've got to be somewhere. It allow you to have the faith to be able to sit back and say, hey, I know it's going to happen. I need to allow it more. So it helps to create that balance. And I think we do some of that naturally by our families being a real major focus of our lives and our business. That is the divine feminine coming through. And so I think and even the fact that a lot of us want to be in service, we want to collaborate, we want connection, all of that speaks of the divine feminine.
Do you think it also gives you the permission to give your self-permission not to do something? Because also in business, a lot of people have, they often do things that they either start a business or they do, whatever, and they feel that they're stuck in it because they've started it. Do you think the divine feminine gives the woman the power or the permission to say no as well?
Oh, absolutely. It gives us the permission to either say no, this is not for me, or for us to sort of recognize that, hey, this is not my destination, that there's something else for me, and just see it as a stepping stone, and I think also too, it gives us that, you mentioned at the beginning about my empath sensitivities.
Yeah.
And one of the challenges of being in business, especially for those of us that are in service, is things like our empath sensitivities and how we may take on the energy from others, how we're not always in a space to be able to hold space for others, how we can easily lose sight of our boundaries. The divine feminine, working with that energy and bringing that into your life and through your soul and into your life and your business, it has you almost like a power source with that stuff. It engages, because it's the divine feminine that sponsors all of that.
Yeah.
So when we work with it consciously, we're so much more in a position of power with it, and therefore creating a great deal more balance. And that can only lead to better success in our businesses.
For me, you've created the divine feminine as a sense of bliss and as its own superpower. How do we begin to embrace or embody the divine feminine if we don't have the mediumship skills you do, or the connection to spirit as yet? What is something that we can do to embrace our divine feminine?
Well, firstly, the first thing that I would say is, just tomorrow morning when you wake up, before you get out of bed, use that little daily soul conversation that I said about what would love have me do today. The second thing is really think about your femininity. Like, one of the things that I've noticed, and I've noticed for myself, that women that are unconsciously coming into their divine feminine do come to it through, they want to work on their appearance. They want to improve how they feel about themselves. They want to come back and feel that sensuality. They go get a makeover. They might do, I can remember, like, when it was all sort of happening for me, I wanted to find a better foundation, or,
New lingerie.
Yeah, exactly. New lingerie, all of that sort of. And if that's confronting for you, then start with, just more the way you dress, or the fact that you might want to feel better putting on earrings or jewelry or whatever it might be going out, you know. All of that is, I have recognized that people that are coming to it unconsciously feel that urge. So on the other scale, if you want to come to it consciously, that's a great place to start.
The other thing is, I guess if you are coming to it consciously, you really want to be aware of that you're doing all of these things for yourself and not for somebody else, which it can be confused. Like, it can be confusing that that you need to learn to do these things for yourself, to dress nicely for yourself, to put foundation on for yourself, for you to enjoy it, not just for doing it for other people. Would you agree?
Oh, totally. And because if you're coming at it from a space of self-love, all that really matters is the fact that it makes you feel great. Yes, that comment from your partner will make you feel even better. But if there's no comment, then that's okay too. And
because you've done it for yourself.
Yes, exactly. And if you want to come at it from your intuition, then open the door to your feelings, because your intuition does speak to you through that source. So open the door to your feelings. If you really need something really tangible, then oracle cards as part of your morning routine at the beginning of the day, and just pulling one out for yourself and working with what presents through the oracle cards in that way is a great little tool to just start opening that door.
And I just want you to quickly share why oracle cards.
Well, I guess for me, it comes from the fact that, you know, I have a history of working with mediumship and communicating with psychic awareness. So for me, oracle cards, they really speak to the feminine energy. They feel soft, they feel gentle, they work with a specific intention, and they're uplifting. You know, so they will tap into the guidance that is there for you, but to me they feel like they do it in a feminine way. So and they're fun. Like, you know, I collect, you know, part of the fun is collecting them. I've got packets over there I haven't even opened, but you know, it's just.
And I guess their guidance doesn't necessarily say that they're reading your future or going to tell you your reality. That it is there just for you to interpret in your reality what you need to receive yourself. Would that be right?
Yes, exactly. Like, I can remember just a couple of weeks ago pulling one out, and I would ask a question that sort of said, what did I need to know about where I was at the time? And one of the cards that come out was a power card, but then I sort of felt like the need to draw a second card and question around my mindset, you know, is this me? That's what I need to do. And the card that came out really confirmed for me that my mindset wasn't in a good place. So sometimes it is just as simple as that, can just really clarify for you, you're getting in your own way.
Yeah. Which we all do.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So before we leave, Kerrie, what is one thing that you would like to share with our viewers today that they could take forward with them to embrace their divine feminine?
I guess just come at it, start with it from a place of self-love. It's, you know, as I said, that daily soul conversation of just, I use them religiously every morning before I get out of bed, before I put my feet on the floor and my day starts. You know, in that space where you're sort of like in a little bit of twilight from waking up, but you're not fully awake. That's a real place of where we can hear the wisdom or tap into it a little bit more easily. So just a little daily soul conversation about, how can I love myself today? What would love have me do? Just even something as simple as that will create a shift. You do that for 30 days and it will create a natural, gentle shift for you.
And I guess if we're doing that for ourselves before we rush off and grab our phone to see who's messaged us, or jump up and feed our children or our partner, or do whatever, just creating that little bit of time for ourselves does create that self-love, and it's a great starting place. Kerrie, would you like to share with us how people can get in contact with you, or if they would like to discuss the divine feminine any further?
Yes, well, I have a website, which is kerriewearing.com, and also my Facebook page, which is Kerrie Wearing, spiritual leader and mentor in the divine feminine. You will notice that my page is a community. It is definitely somewhere where I hang out, I connect with others, and so that if you ask a question, you make a comment, whatever, you'll hear from me.
So everybody, please do connect with Kerrie. Her page is a divine space of spirituality that she does really share her expertise in her 20-something years of being connected to spirit and mediumship and the divine feminine. So jump across to her page. Kerrie, I would love to thank you today for joining me and for stepping up to be one of my superpower women, because you really are a woman that does embody what she says, and one of your superpowers is also strength and standing up and teaching other people how their life path can be a little bit easier. So I would love to thank you for joining me.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you for having me, Nicole. I'm honoured, and I know, that you are, one of your superpowers is the support that you offer to everyone, to not just to those that work more closely with you, but to, the greater community as a whole, to women in business. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. It really is about women empowering women, empowering each other. So thank you for joining me, Kerrie, and we will see you in the next half an hour with our next speaker.